Hey, welcome to The Explainer. We're always told the future of AI is about creating these super smart machines that can think for themselves. But what if the real revolution, especially in business, is actually about putting AI on a really short leash? Today, we're digging into why so many companies are choosing rulebooks over robots.
Yeah, I know, it sounds totally backward, doesn't it? For years, the big goal, the finish line for AI, was complete autonomy. But what we're actually seeing happen in the business world is a huge shift in the exact opposite direction. The big trend isn't more freedom, it's all about a carefully designed rulebook.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll get a handle on what this new, predictable path for AI even is. Then, we'll put it head-to-head with those autonomous agents you hear so much about. After that, we'll dig into why control is so darned useful, see how it all works in the real world, and then, of course, we'll get real about the risks and downsides.
Okay, let's dive into our first section. So what does this whole controlled AI thing actually look like when the rubber meets the road? Well, the key idea you need to wrap your head around is something called a structured AI workflow.
Think of it like a train on a track. We, the humans, we're the ones laying down the rails. The AI's job, it's just to follow that track, hitting every single station in the exact order we tell it to. It's all about being predictable, you know? It's the polar opposite of a free-roaming AI that might just decide to take a scenic detour whenever it feels like it.
All right, so to really get what we're talking about, let's use an analogy. Let's head into the kitchen, because this is where you can really see the difference between a simple, reliable recipe and a totally unpredictable master chef.
Okay, so on one hand, a workflow is just like a detailed recipe for a cake. You follow the steps exactly, you put in the right ingredients, and boom, you get a perfect cake every single time. Now, an autonomous agent, that's like telling a master chef, hey, surprise me. You might get an incredible Michelin star dessert, or you might get a total disaster in a kitchen fire. And what businesses are realizing is that for most of their day-to-day stuff, they don't need the fancy surprise. They just want the guaranteed cake.
So why? Why would anyone choose the boring old recipe over the creative genius? Well, because in the world of business, predictability isn't boring at all. It's basically a superpower. And there are 5 huge reasons why companies are all in on this idea of control. First up, you get absolute control. You know exactly what the AI is doing at all times. Second, predictable results. This is massive for quality control. Third, you actually lower your costs because the AI isn't off wasting time and resources experimenting with new ideas. Fourth, troubleshooting is a breeze. If something breaks, you know exactly which step failed. And finally, and this is a big one, you can maintain strict compliance with regulations by locking the AI into only doing pre-approved actions.
Okay, so we've got the why nailed down. Now let's get into the how. How does this idea of a structured workflow actually get things done in the real world? You see, the magic here is actually in how rigid it is. It all starts with a person, a human, defining the exact steps. Then, the system takes in some kind of specific input, say an email or an invoice. It applies the rules it's been given, talks to other software when it needs to, and this is so important, if it sees anything it doesn't recognize, it doesn't try to guess. It just stops and flags it for a human to look at. No improvisation allowed, period.
And actually getting one of these systems up and running follows a really clear path too. Companies start by finding those repetitive, boring tasks that are all based on rules. They map out every single step a person currently takes to do that job. Then they build that process in software, test it like crazy to make sure it works, and finally they roll it out and just keep an eye on how it's doing.
And the effect of all this, it's like a powerful chain reaction. First, the AI takes over all that repetitive grunt work. This frees up your people to focus on the hard stuff, the creative problem solving. Suddenly, tasks that took hours are getting done in seconds. This, of course, drives down your costs, and now the business can handle way more work without burning everybody out. It's just a massive win for efficiency.
Okay, let's make this super real. Think about customer support. A workflow could read an angry customer email, instantly pull up their entire order history, and then draft a refund request, leaving just that final approve click for a human manager. How cool is that?
Or what about in finance? You've got a system that can literally pull the total amount from an invoice PDF, automatically check it against the purchase order, and plug it straight into the accounting software. That eliminates all that boring manual data entry and all the costly mistakes that come with it. And let's not forget HR. Imagine the second a new employee signs their contract, a workflow just kicks into gear. It creates all their software accounts, it schedules their onboarding, everything is ready to go before they even walk in the door on their first day.
Okay, so this all sounds pretty amazing, right? Like the perfect solution. But let's be real, these structured workflows are not a silver bullet. It's really, really important that we understand the trade-offs and the very real limitations.
You see, the workflow's greatest strength, the fact that it's so rigid, is also its biggest weakness. It just can't adapt if something unexpected happens. A tiny change to a form could break the whole thing. They also take a ton of time to set up in the first place, and they have to be manually updated. And then you've got two big human risks. A piece of software it's connected to could fail and cause a huge breakdown, or, and this one's kind of scary, people might just start trusting it too much and stop paying attention.
And this quote really just nails it. This is the heart of the matter. Businesses are making a very deliberate trade-off here. They are giving up the creative, adaptive potential of a truly autonomous AI for the rock-solid reliability of a structured workflow. It's a choice, predictability over possibility.
So where does that leave us? Now that we know that this kind of controlled AI is where a lot of businesses are heading, the next big question isn't really if they should use AI, but how they should build these systems. The new frontier is figuring out the right platform to manage all these rules and connect all these tools. And that's a decision that's going to shape how businesses operate for years to come.